In the shadow of Jim Crow segregation, behind the gates of a federal research center in Hampton, Virginia, a quiet revolution was taking shape. Inside a segregated building at the Langley Memorial Aeronautical Laboratory, a group of brilliant black women sat with pencils, slide rules, and stacks of graph paper. They weren't secretaries. They were computers, and their calculations would one day send America into space. Before machines could compute, people did. At Langley, teams of women, first white, then also black, worked tirelessly to turn complex equations into the numbers that would guide aircraft and rockets. They were called computers, human engines of precision, their work dismissed by many as women's math. But in truth, their numbers were the backbone of flight, the silent architecture beneath the jet age and the space race. In the 1940s, Langley formed a segregated group known as the West Area Computing Unit, the Colored Computers. They solved the same equations as everyone else, but for lower pay, under harsher conditions, and in separate rooms, separate bathrooms, separate cafeteria tables. Yet amid the sting of segregation, these women built something larger than resentment, excellence that no wall could contain. Miriam Mann began removing the Colored Computers sign from the cafeteria again and again, until it never returned. Katherine Johnson quietly refused to use the segregated restroom, walking miles less than expected but making her stance known. Mary Jackson denied entry into engineering classes, petitioned the city of Hampton to allow her into a white school, and won, becoming NASA's first black woman engineer. Dorothy Vaughan mastered the new IBM computers before anyone else and became NASA's first black supervisor, teaching her team to code when the world was still learning what programming meant. As the Cold War intensified, America claimed the mantle of freedom against the Soviet Union, but segregation made that claim hollow. When Sputnik orbited overhead in 1957, everything changed. Langley merged into the newly formed NASA, and the color lines began to fade. When astronaut John Glenn prepared to make his historic orbit, he refused to launch until Katherine Johnson personally verified the machine's calculations. "Get the girl to check the numbers," he said, trusting her math above all else. Their legacy only deepened. Christine Darden joined in 1967, breaking sound barriers in both engineering and equality, rising to lead NASA's supersonic flight division, and becoming the first black woman in Langley's senior executive service. For decades, their names were buried in the archives, until Hidden Figures brought them back into the light, showing the world that these women had not just computed numbers, they had rewritten history. They turned exclusion into innovation, silence into strength, and prejudice into progress. Hidden no more, they helped send America to space while fighting to be allowed in the room. Like, share, and subscribe for more biographies of foundational Black Americans.